Hello, this is Yarrow, and welcome to a special laptop lifestyle training presentation of how to set up your blog and email list to sell your product on autopilot. So this presentation is an important one because the Academy hasn't really got any other training specifically on the email sequence. So this presentation very much covers how to set up an email sequence to sell your product or service. In fact, as you're going to see, you receive 8 templates in this training. Now, Blog Mastermind, my flagship training program, goes into much more depth on email marketing. So I don't have the space in this 30-minute to an hour presentation to obviously cover the entire range of what goes into a really effective email marketing campaign. But what you are going to walk away with in this presentation is certainly the basics of what you need to set up. So if you've never written an email sequence to sell a product before, this is really going to be enlightening for you, and it really can be used to sell pretty much any product or service. These are fundamental internet marketing concepts, and email, as you're going to see, is by far the most powerful direct response mechanism we have online to sell with. So let's dive into this presentation. So why does this matter? Well, the most important thing for you to understand is that your email list is a tool for automation. So my business runs today primarily based on email marketing campaigns that run without me. So I set them up once and they continue to sell my products and services, with my blog being the traffic source. So you're going to learn how to set up automation in this presentation. Now, I bring up this slide because a lot of people, especially if you're newer to internet marketing, may have been distracted with social media, with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest, and you forget about the email component of your marketing campaign. Now, social media is great, but I want you to understand it's a very difficult tool for getting a direct sale from. Social media, as you can see from a lot of the stats I'm throwing, and I'm going to show you some more coming up, is not a great tool for engagement because it's getting lower and lower. There's more noise, there's more content, and over time, this channel has become very, very crowded. So it's difficult to jump into social media and use that as a way to make sales directly. What's important though is you can use social media to get people onto an email list and then let the email list do the rest of the work, which is what you're going to learn about in this presentation. I also want to pull up the statistics to show you social versus email in terms of direct response. So 2 statistics, view rate and click-through rate. So view rate is this slide here. This is just showing you comparing email to Facebook and Twitter, and this is viewing the content you show people. So on Twitter, about 8 to 10% of your followers will actually see your tweet. On Facebook, 6% will see your Facebook post through organic reach, or less than 2%, around 2% if you have more than 500,000 likes. So between 2 and 6%. Facebook has an average of email has an average of about 20.2% actually viewing, opening your emails. And I can tell you that's about spot on for my own email. If I go into my Ontraport system right now and showed you some of the various emails in my system, you're going to see that 20% is the typical open rate for most of the messages that go to my wider list. It's even better if it's a very small segmented list, but 20% is spot on about what you can expect from email. So definitely much higher than Facebook and Twitter. But this to me is the most important statistic, the click-through rate. So this is people actually taking an action. Now in email, that's really straightforward. You send an email and there's a link in that email asking people to do something, whether to go read some of your blog posts or watch a video or download a podcast or even buy one of your products and services. You're going to get about 3.3% click-through rate on your emails. And again, I can really verify that from my own campaigns. My emails get between 1% and at best 4 to 5% click-through rate. Facebook, 0.07%, and Twitter, 0.03%. And that's not even necessarily click rates. That's actually engagement rates. So that's people clicking the like button or perhaps doing a retweet. So it's not even necessarily them clicking the link you share in your Facebook post or your Twitter post. So if you're wondering why you're struggling to make any money from Facebook or Twitter or other social media channels, it's because your click-through rate is going to be ridiculously small there. You need huge audiences on social media to make any kind of good money. That's why we need email. You're going to get the higher response rate from email. It's important to understand that by building a machine, you also have stable cash flow. So if you have an email system that sells your products and services automatically, you have cash flow coming in on a regular basis to run your business. I could not hire the contractors who work for my team. As I record this, we've got about 10 people working for me. So I wasn't confident each month I'm going to have cash coming in to pay for them. Ownership is also a vital component of why this matters. You don't own your social media channels. You don't own any of the channels like Pinterest or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, because the big media companies own those and they can change the rules. They do change the rules. You're no doubt well aware of how frequently Instagram changes or Facebook changes, and they can, decide that even your account can be deleted if they don't like what you're doing with it. With email, you own that channel, you own that platform. It's 100% yours. So I want to do a quick brief background to explain to you how I came up with this email sequence I'm about to teach you. So this is really a background study of how I got into automated email funnels. So I'm going to teach you about some of the most important concepts I use in my email, including storytelling. So the most important thing I believe in all the content I produce is storytelling. I engage people by sharing stories from my own business or through case studies of my clients or people I interview on podcasts. Very frequently, though, I'm really just sharing my own stories about what I do with my businesses or what I do with my life. Storytelling is vital for your email sequences. Emails are much more effective when they include stories. And as you're also going to see, there's a lot of psychology of persuasion in these emails as well. If you've never read this book, it's called Influence by Robert Cialdini. This is a great book. I definitely recommend you go grab it. You're going to learn some of the concepts he talks about throughout this presentation. In fact, you're going to see them in the templates. Things like reciprocity, authority, social proof, consistency, urgency, and scarcity. Powerful psychological tools that help to make your audience do something when you ask them to do something. Gets their attention, makes them take action. Very important if you want to sell your products and services. I also have to owe a debt of thanks to these people: Dan Kennedy, Eben Pagan, Jay Abraham, Jeff Walker, and there's many, many other people who have come before me, who I've studied, who are masters at this world direct response marketing. In particular, Eben Pagan and Jeff Walker, they took direct response marketing techniques that guys like Dan and Jay came up with in the offline world, and Eben and Jeff took them online. And I very much studied and followed these guys. Even in my very, very early days when I was 20, 21 years old, I was studying Eben's work. And I saw how they used these psychological techniques and storytelling in their own emails. So I owe a debt of thanks to these guys. And they were doing it, Jay and Dan, even before there was an internet. They were doing it with direct mail, sending letters in the post. So it's a very effective method of marketing that really is not new. This is proven. This is long-term. In fact, if you go back, it's probably even centuries old, because if people have been writing to sell things, they've been using these kind of techniques. Personally, I've used this system or these types of systems, these kinds of email funnels, to sell almost $2 million as I record this of my own products and services. So I'm really very proud of that. But what most excites me is that it's very much powered by just two tools: a blog and an email sequence, which is what you're going to learn about in a moment. So I'm going to give you some practical steps you can follow in this presentation. In particular, I'm going to give you the exact 8 email templates you can follow. Now, when I say these are templates, what I mean by that is they're concepts you can copy, but not word for word. Now, obviously, when I give you a template, if I'm in the teaching blogging business, you can't apply that to, perhaps losing weight or dealing with depression or how to fix a bad back. What I can give you are conceptual templates that you can then apply to your industry, to your markets. You are going to have to write these emails or possibly these blog posts from scratch, but you're going to have these templates to guide you. It's up to you to come up with the appropriate story, but then apply it using these templates. I'm also going to tell you the sequence of information you need to present to people. It is important you understand that I am giving you a 2-week funnel here with 4 emails on week 1 and 4 emails on week 2. You can move things around, you can adjust this, but generally speaking, what I'm showing you is designed to work in an order. I would certainly not start putting week 2 emails in week 1 necessarily, and you'll see why. It won't make sense, but you'll see why in a moment why that is. And the end result, if you follow through with this presentation, actually do what I'm teaching you, is you will have a 2-week, 8 email part funnel. So 8 emails over 2 weeks designed to sell your products or services. And what I want you to do is then go and write those emails so you can get a result like this. I want you to walk away, write the emails, set it up in your business, and start getting these automated sales coming through like I'm showing you here. This is just a screenshot from some of the PayPal notification emails that come into my inbox. And I really literally get PayPal and Stripe notifications in my inbox every day. And that's happening regardless of whether I do anything. I'm not doing broadcast campaigns. I'm not doing launches. These are from automatic emails set up over the last 5 years to sell my products and services. Now your job is to go away and write the emails and then plug them into your email autoresponder. So it doesn't really matter which email autoresponder you use. It just needs to be a professional one that has the system for drip releasing emails. Now I grew up in terms of the internet on Aweber. That was my first email autoresponder system, but you can use GetResponse. MailChimp is a little bit basic, but you can start there. Today I'm on Ontraport, but for a lot of people that's going to be too much, and it probably will cost too much as well because it's a lot more than just an email autoresponder. It's a full-blown customer selling machine. And ActiveCampaign is great too. In fact, I'm sending a lot of people to ActiveCampaign lately because it does have a wonderful design. But Aweber is where I got my start. So if you want to get started with where I started, Aweber is a great place to go. Now you can plug this into social media. So I was sort of poo-pooing social media earlier in this presentation, showing what's bad about it, but it is a great source of traffic still. It's a great way to get an initial exposure. What's important is you understand you plug these 8 emails, this funnel, this sequence, as the backend to your social media. So the social media brings people to these emails, just as your blog brings people to these emails. So that is certainly an option for you to walk away and do after this presentation. And ultimately, you're going to test the machine. So this is not going to necessarily work 100% right first time you set it up. You're going to need to tweak things. You probably have to look at your open and click-through rates and perhaps change the subject lines. You might need to spend a bit more time collecting the information you need for the emails to make sure you get, the best case studies or the best stories you can share. But it is a machine, which means you can test this. You can keep tweaking it and playing with it and doing incremental improvements until it does what you want it to do, sells your products on autopilot. All right, so how I discovered this system. Let me give you a bit of background in my personal story. So you probably know this already as a follower of me. You're inside the Laptop Lifestyle Academy, so you probably are aware of my story. But what I want to highlight now is how email, in particular, this email marketing system, this funnel concept came into my world. So in 2005, as you probably know, I started my Entrepreneur's Journey blog as a place to share stories about my editing company, my Magic the Gathering card game store, plus all the other business ideas that I was floating around with back then. In 2006, I took the advice I was learning from other internet marketers that I needed an email list. So I finally started one. On the right side there, you can actually see a screenshot of my first ever landing page where I called myself the Blog Traffic King. And on the left side, that's my first ever blog opt-in box. I put that on my blog to grow my blog traffic tips newsletter. Now, in 2007, which is now 2 years after I started my blog, I decided to release my first product. By then, I'd grown my email list to 5,000 people purely from blog traffic. And I launched a membership for $27 a month, and I did a full-blown 1-month-long campaign. And I was absolutely blown away when 400 people signed up. And that was the day when my blog became a 6-figure business, earning over $10,000 a month from that one membership product that I was selling. Now, from there, though, I wanted to continue to sell this product, but I didn't want to have to always do these big launches. So I decided instead that I would create an automated email sequence. And I didn't know whether it would work, but I believed that if I would do the same thing I always did, which was to produce valuable content, give it away for free, and also offer my product. If I set that up to work on autopilot, I could potentially make autopilot sales. So I went all in, and I certainly don't recommend you follow this advice, but back then I decided to write a whole year worth of weekly emails. So 52 messages designed to go out over a 12-month period. When someone joined my email list, they'd start at message 1, and then each week for 52 weeks, they'd get my messages. They go through the whole sequence. And amazingly enough, it actually started to work. So it was a very effective tool. And I started to make $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 in sales of the same product month after month. By then I turned it from a membership site into a course, so it cost a bit more. It was a one-time fee or payment plan, but it turned out to be a very effective income stream. However, that's a lot of emails. It took me a long time to write the whole 52-week sequence. I didn't want to have to do that for every single product. So I ended up coming up with a shortened sequence. And I think this is important today to note that, you don't have to do a really, really long sequence. In fact, the first week is the most important week, and the first 30 days is the most important 30 days, because that's when people are fresh on your list. However, if you do want to do a whole year-long sequence, that potentially could work really well too. It just might not be the smartest use of your time because it takes so long. So today I use a much shorter version of my original plan, usually between 2 to 3 weeks long maximum. But what I'll do is I'll actually move people between these different sequences. So what I have is essentially these short sequences going to each of my individual products. So I've got a whole range of products now, as you probably know very well, and I have these short sequences to sell them. That's how my business works. And as you probably know as well, especially if you're a Blog Mastermind student or you've been through the Blog Profits Blueprint, this is the foundation idea. The blog sales funnel is what I teach today. What I'm sharing with you now really is that second section, the email list to sell your first product. So obviously, if you're a Blog Mastermind member, you know there's a lot more to this. And as a member of the Laptop Lifestyle Academy, you also are very aware there's a lot of components to put into a business like this. You can have a range of products. You could create your own flagship course, do live events, private coaching. What matters now, though, is I'm giving you the tools for this start of this funnel, the email sequence. And it can be enough to get you going with your first stable income stream is just these 8 emails. All right, so we're going to switch over into workshop time. This is when we're actually going to look at the 8 emails, the templates that you're going to produce. All right, so this is week 1. Now, what you're going to see is these first 4 emails come on week 1, and the second 4 emails come on week 2. As I said, I don't recommend you move these things around too much. There's a little bit of flexibility, but if you're new to this, just follow exactly what I show you here. Your job is to write the 8 emails. So the first one is your life story email. Now, this one is one of the emails that I do recommend you actually write as a blog post and have the email that you send point to the blog post. So for example, you might have a blog and you'll have an opt-in form or several on your blog offering some kind of lead magnet, maybe a free handout or free audio or even a free video, something like that. Now, what you will do is in the first welcome email, you'll give them a link to download the handout. And then this will also be a link in that email. You'll say, hey, also, I'd love to introduce you and tell you a little bit more about myself. Click here to read about how I got into this industry. So let's just say for the case of this example I'm showing you now for the next 8 emails, I'm going to use the story of someone trying to cure back pain. So let's say you're a back pain expert and you actually in fact have a range of different ideas on how to cure back pain, and you're going to see how they come through in this email sequence. So that'll help make this template series a little bit more realistic for you. So in this case with the life story, what you would write is how you got into this area of curing back pain. So you possibly would talk about your background as it relates to you suffering from back pain. You'd explain your hero's journey, which means you suffered, then you tried to fix your back, something didn't work, then something else didn't work, you got really frustrated, finally discovered, exercise is not the trick for me, but I realized what was wrong was actually my diet, and I had some vitamin deficiencies. So I changed how I eat, I started to take a few different supplements, and that is what made the difference. So you talk about this whole journey and where you are today and how you became this expert at back pain. It's important this story is a story. It needs to be a narrative because it's a key tool for you to demonstrate your authority and build trust and rapport with your audience. Important concept is trust. Trust is what leads to people buying from you. So sharing your story is a really important tool for building that trust. I also recommend at this point you mention in the sequence that there is a next email coming up that's going to teach you, more about what you learned. So a little bit of an open loop to do like what you would see in an episode of Lost. Coming up next, we're going to learn about this. So that's important as well in this first email. Now, the life story, I'm often asked, how long should it be? I really don't think there should be any word limitation on this. It can be 2,000 words, 3,000 words, 4,000 words. As long as you are telling a story as it relates to the subject you cover, what your business is about, that's fine. What really matters is that you put effort in to make this a really compelling piece of content. And then this email points to that blog post. Okay, so that comes out immediately once they join your list. This is an example of my life story. You've probably seen it on the Entrepreneur's Journey blog. It might look a little bit different now when you go to my blog, but the idea is the same. I share my story of how I got into internet marketing, became an online entrepreneur, and build rapport. In fact, I used to have a 6-part life story. It's shrunk down to like 1 page, but like I said, it can be as long as you need it to be. The second email in week 1, I call this the aha email. Now this one can come out 24 hours later. I really do think it's okay to send 1 email a day. You're going to be sending, 4 in week 1 and 4 in week 2. So you're probably going to hit them 5 days of the week, 4 days of the week. And if they join on Tuesday, they're probably going to get it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then next week they'll get it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. But as you should be clear though, this is a sequence they can join at any time. They might join on a Sunday and get week 1, email 1 on Sunday, then get this message, email 2, on Monday. So this is the aha email. This is a really important conceptual template for you to explain why you're good at what you do by detailing the big breakthrough, the aha moment you experienced. This is when you go deep into your before and after experience. This is obviously relevant if you're the person who went through the experience. Now, if you're going to be writing an email sequence about someone else's experience, then it needs to be about them. Whoever is the expert behind the product or the service that you sell, that's the story you need to tell in both the life story and the aha email. So the aha email details all the things you did that didn't work and all the emotions you experienced that as a result of that experience. So you failed, how you felt. You failed again, how you felt. So with back pain, it might have been, I went to a chiropractor, I went to the doctor, I tried yoga, I tried all kinds of different exercises, stretches, YouTube videos. None of that worked. And then I finally discovered that, there's a unique component that your body needs in order to have a strong back, and it was something missing in your diet. Boom, aha moment. I didn't know about this. You add that to your diet, suddenly your back starts feeling better. You learn more about it. You start taking a few more supplements. Your back gets back to 100%. And you realize you've learned something. You've actually discovered something that you want to share with the world to help other people cure their back as well. And what you do is you translate your learning into a concept. So now you have a system or a formula that you can then teach to other people and also sell. So this aha moment really ends the story of the aha email, ends with your system and you explaining how today you teach the system to other people who want to cure their back. So in your case, you want to help people, whatever it is, help them with depression, help them with skincare, help them make money on the stock market, help them with social media marketing management, whatever it is you do, this is what the aha moment links to. Now again, this second email could be a blog post because it might be a long story. So if you're finding yourself writing more than 1,000 words, I would recommend making these blog posts and having the email have a link to the blog post. That just makes more sense. At this point too, in this second email, you can mention your product. I would actually start your first offer making process here. The email would be a very short offer. You're not going to make the whole email about the product. They're going to read the aha moment story. And at the end, you're going to say, here's my system. You can actually buy the product now. And they're going to go check it out. That might be in the blog post. That might be in the email. It probably should be in both. Moving on to the third email, the how-to email. So this is pretty straightforward. Again, third email, day 3. You're going to teach them how to implement a system. It's an introductory lesson, and you're going to give them a few steps to do that actually deliver a real result. Now, this is not meant to be a huge how-to lesson. You can't teach people how to do the entire thing you know how to do in one email or in one blog post. What you can do is give them a couple of steps that will help them move towards the result and use some examples to demonstrate. You also should emphasize that you are only giving them the starting point, and there are deeper levels that they can go to through your training, and that's when you make another offer. So one of the examples I like to give is I actually went through this with my own business when I first started teaching how to blog, and I was thinking, what is a result I can give to people who are new bloggers? Now, I can't promise bloggers are going to make money quickly, because it's not something you can make money quickly with. You have to build a business. But I did think, you know what I could do? I could teach people the basics of blog setup in my email sequence. I could say, go out there and buy a domain name and then install WordPress, and then you're going to have a blog. That's a result. That's giving them a sense of moving forward. They're actually taking steps towards building a blogging business. So that was my first ever how-to training, and it gave people a real sense of moving forward. So it's a very powerful way to attach a process, an experience, a sense of progress with you as the teacher. So with the bad back example, if the person's an expert in bad back and they might have this combination of changes in diet, it might be as simple as saying, go to your local grocery store, buy this supplement, take it once a day in the morning, and see if it impacts your back. If you know that there's something in particular that can help with back pain, they take this one supplement, maybe it doesn't cure their back pain, but they feel 50% better. That's a big movement forward, and they're going to really feel this sense of, I think this guy can help me. You know, that this person's an expert. All I did was make one change, and I'm feeling better. Where can I learn more from them? What else can I get from them? And that's when they're possibly going to buy your product. So again, this is an opportunity to make an offer for your product or service. And I really recommend you link that to the fact that there are deeper levels of knowledge, deeper levels to learn about in terms of them solving their problem if they buy from you. That's the link to the how-to lesson that you teach them. Okay, and the final email in week 1, the 4th email in the sequence, this is a case study. This should be your best example of a client that you have helped, and it should be their story. So again, you're sharing a story, a narrative about someone you helped. You're going to reveal their whole journey. They're going to tell their before experience, their before emotions. Then they're going to explain how you came into their life and you taught them something. They applied what they learned from you and they felt better, or they got a result. They made some money, whatever the outcome is that they're looking for. And it demonstrates that what you teach works for other people. Your system, here's proof. This person did it and it worked. Now you want them to share their specific results. So if it's losing weight that you teach, they need to say in the case study, I lost 20 pounds. If it's stock trading on the stock market, I made $30,000 in 2 months using this system that I learned from this person. Now with case studies, it can be a written case study. It could be an audio interview with your past client. I do podcast interviews from my case study, so that's a great way. It could even be video. You could get them on a camera. You could sit with them in a room. All these methods are great. What should be present is a great story. That's a great demonstration of you and your concept working. Make sure they focus on emotions too. You don't want them to get too nitty-gritty, too practical. They want to talk about how they felt and what they were suffering with, and then how they overcame that problem because of you and your system or your product or your service, and how they feel now so much happier. So with the back pain example, this could be a mother of children and, they can't pick up the baby anymore. But now that they've gone through your system, they can pick up the baby in one arm, be cooking with the other arm. They don't feel this pain with their day-to-day life. They're so much happier. They can be around their kids and they don't need help all the time from someone else. So that's the kind of thing you're looking for in the case study. So those are the first 4 emails: life story, aha, how to, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 in a 2-week email sequence. Just a little example of one of my case studies. You may be aware of Joel. He's one of the mentors in the Laptop Lifestyle Academy. He's also the case that I often share first, because Joel's story is just so compelling, because he got into blogging through my work at the age of 62 years old. So, he's not old, but it's a late start to get on into internet business. So I love sharing his story. I love sharing the great things he says about me and how my work changed his life. So you're looking for something like this. If you don't have a great case study yet, then you need to find another example. Even if it's not your client, maybe you can find someone else in the world who's following a system like yours or using your product and they got a result. But ideally, go help someone so you can have a case study. Case studies are really powerful tools. You need them in your business. Okay, so moving on to week 2 now. Week 2 is all about a special. This is an opportunity to promote the product that you were promoting in week 1 at full price and offer it as some kind of special in week 2. Now, in my email sequences, I almost always do a price discount as my special. You may not be able to do that. It doesn't have to be a price discount. It could be a bundle, a bonus, some kind of offer they only get during this week-long special. Now, it's important, whatever you offer and the reason why you give the offer, the special, has some kind of justification. There must be a realistic reason why you're saying this week there's a special. Also, be aware that this is an email funnel that's evergreen, which means anyone can join it at any time of the year. So you can't say this is a Halloween special or a Mother's Day special or a New Year's Eve special. There's any time in the world, any time in the year they can join. So one of the specials I like to offer is a first time customer special, because usually when they join these email sequences, they've never bought from me before. So I'll call this a week-long special for people who've never bought this product from me before, 1 week only, and there's a discount. Now, when you do this particular email, when you send it, it's going to come at the beginning of week 2. So it's probably coming day 8 for them, maybe day 6, depending on how you set this up. I recommend the first 4 emails literally go day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So every 24 hours. Then you can give them maybe 2 days off and then send this one. Because what you want to happen is you want this message to ideally come out on a Monday. Now, with some of the autoresponders, you can specify the message to come out only on certain days. So what I often do is I make sure my messages don't come out on the weekend. Obviously, the first message when they join, they get it straight away. So if they join on the weekend, they get it on the weekend. But after that, only during weekdays, I send my emails. So this one will come out and it's going to tell people about a special and it's going to mention what's in the product. This is a product pitch email. So you want to put a bit of effort into explaining the features, the benefits, maybe a picture of what this product contains or what the service you offer contains, because it is a pitch, it is an offer. You're trying to get a sale and you're giving them a discount. As an example, here's one of the emails I use to send my how to buy and sell ebook package. I sell that and this is the discount version of it. So this email comes out to them during week 2 after they join this email sequence. They've already gone through content. They've already got education from me, some how-to training, some aha moment content. They've possibly got my life story as well. And here's just the discount. It's pretty straightforward. It's a picture of the product. It's the title. It's the subheadline. I explain what's in the product and the special offer, 1 week only, not $49, $29. And I also have more bullet benefits explaining what's in that product. So you need something like that. Okay, so that's the start of week 2. The second email in week 2, which is actually email 6 in the whole 2-week sequence, is what I call a rejections email. Really, really important email. This is designed to get people to buy who haven't bought already by dealing with whatever reason why they're choosing not to buy. So you have to remember, by this point, email 6, they've already seen about 4 or possibly even 5 offers for your product, plus the special offer has started, and they haven't bought. So they haven't bought, what's stopping them? So what you need to do is in this email, and I recommend this is just a straightforward bullet point list of reasons why people don't buy, like an FAQ, and address the key rejections. Now, if you don't know the reasons why people don't buy your product, you have to find this out. So what I recommend you can do is, first of all, if you already sell your product and you get refunds, find out why people are refunding. Also, track any questions you get about your product before they buy to see what they're asking before they make the decision to buy, so you can address those things in this rejections email. Some of the common rejections are they may be concerned about the price. They may be concerned about their husband or wife or their spouse not wanting them to buy this. They may be concerned it's too much of a beginner tool or too much of an advanced tool. That's a key one, because if they think it's a beginner tool, but it's not, it's actually an advanced tool, you want to state that. Because if you state that this product is for more advanced people, you're going to keep beginners from buying it. And if beginners bought it, they'll probably refund it. Plus, you're going to make the advanced people see that this is for them and they're going to buy. Or vice versa. If it's for beginners, then don't have advanced people buy it because they're going to refund. Say this is for beginners, and then you'll get the beginners buying it and they'll be happy. So keep the wrong people away by being clear about it, and attract the right customer by being clear about who it's for. Some of the other things that I often address in these rejections email are how the product's delivered. Some people aren't sure whether it's digital or it's physical. It's a good opportunity to also mention any refund policy if you haven't mentioned that already in your sequence. The whole idea here is hit every reason why people have decided not to buy. If you can deal with that, then they're going to make the decision to buy as a result of reading this email. And it is one of the most important emails in the sequence when it comes to selling. This will bring the fence sitters across. All right, second last email in the sequence. Week 2, email 3 or email 7 overall. This is a full-blown product pitch. Now, this message is coming almost at the end of 2 weeks. They probably have about 48 to maybe 3 days left before the special offer you made expires. So you're basically saying in this email, here's a great product, you should have it by now. I'm going to tell you everything about it so you know if you're not buying, you're going to miss out. This is amazing. So detail everything included, explain the bonuses, describe the delivery formats, mention the guarantee if you haven't done so already. Of course, reiterate the special. The special is going to end soon. You've only got a couple of days left to get this special. It could be a bonus you're taking away. It could be several bonuses you're taking away. It could be 50% off that they're going to miss out on, something like that. The product itself could be going away. It's up to you to decide what kind of special you offer, but really reiterate the fact that it's not going to be available at the end of this week. I also recommend you focus on benefits here. One of the things a lot of people who are not familiar with copywriting is they don't put enough benefits when they pitch a product, when you make an offer. You want to talk about how your product will change a person's life in terms of their physical circumstances, in terms of their emotional condition. So you're going to change their life in a certain way, like they're going to have no longer going to have a bad back, and emotionally, they're going to wake up feeling happy now instead of feeling sad and depressed like they have been in the past. Plus, give some descriptions of how those benefits change a person's life. So as I said before, in this kind of email, you might actually say, you know, if you're a mother and you've been having trouble looking after your kids, or even a father, you know, you can now play with them in the backyard without worrying about your back being sore. Or you can, you know, carry the baby in one arm while you cook the dinner. You have this complete change of your life because this problem's been solved. I do the same thing with what I teach with how to make money blogging. Imagine you no longer have to go to your full-time job because you have a blog and an email list that sells your product for you even while you're sleeping. You wake up and sales have come in overnight, and you can choose what to do with your day. You can keep blogging, you can create more products, or you can go for a swim, or you can, you know, plan your next travel overseas. It's up to you. So I talk about the change in the physical conditions, and I also talk about emotions. I tell stories, so you want to do that in a product pitch as well. Here's an example of the product connected to the offer I was showing you earlier. So my How to Buy and Sell Websites guide, you may already have this guide. It's actually in the Academy as a special product if you get to, I think it's legendary status or leadership status. I'd have to double check that one, but it is available in the Academy. But people buy this from me every month outside of the Academy as well, directly through my 2-week email sequence. And this is the sales page. It's pretty straightforward. The reason why I'm showing it to you, I just want you to see the special $29 limited time offer. So there's a version of my sales page just for the special, and it's only linked inside this week 2 email sequence. So only the last 4 emails in the 8 emails has a link to this page. It's kind of like a hidden page where you can get the offer. So it's only available during that second week of the 2-week sequence. All right, The last email in the sequence, this is pretty straightforward, a 24-hour warning email. It's short and simple, it's brief product benefits, emphasize this is the last chance to get that special, and this will be when most of the sales come through. When this email hits the inbox, generally it triggers the sales in the next day because, for the obvious reason, it's scarcity. It's one of those psychological triggers I mentioned earlier. If there's a deadline or if there's a limited offer, that's what drives people to actually make a decision. This also wraps up the 2-week sequence. So it comes to a conclusion. You've given some great content in week 1. You've shared a case study. You've taught some how-to. You've helped people move forward. You've told your life story. Then you've run this special during week 2 where you've talked about the product, the rejections, and the special offer. Now, I want to show you a brief look inside Ontraport. So this is one of my 2-week funnels. In fact, this is the one that sells that how to buy and sell ebook guide I showed you on the previous slide. In fact, this funnel is only 6 emails. So it's not directly copying the 8-part funnel I'm showing you today. I think the 8-part funnel is actually better than the 6-part one I've got here I'm showing you because I refined it more. But I put together this 6-part one about 3 or 4 years ago. Now, I didn't have all the content like I'm showing you with the 8-part one back then. So I did what I did with what I had, and it worked. It still works. That's why I'm showing you this. These 6 emails have continued to sell my buy and sell e-guide package for literally, I think it's about 4 years at the time of recording this. So it's something I wrote 4 years ago. I set it up. My blog sends a few people. We're not talking a lot. I might get maybe 100 subscribers a month going through this sequence. That's not a lot of traffic. You know, most of them don't buy the product, but a few do every single month, and it's automated. It's passive income because 4 years ago I decided to put in the effort and create this funnel. Now, as you can see, look, it's run about 4,500 times. At the most, there about 6,000 times. So I've had 6,000 people go through it. The screenshot was taken in 2016, almost at the end of 2016. So it's about 3 to 4 years. Over 3 to 4 years, 6,000 people have gone through, and I've sold hundreds of copies of this ebook on autopilot. Plus, people who buy this ebook buy my other products and services. In fact, you might be inside the Laptop Lifestyle Academy because you came through after buying this product. So it really does work. These funnels are fantastic. They're not hard to set up. They only need to be 6 to 8 emails. I've given you 8 great emails to set up your funnel now, so you have what you need, the basics, to get started. Now, as I've been showing this to you, assuming you're keeping up and you're not feeling too overwhelmed, you might have been thinking to yourself, what happens next? So if they actually do buy the product, do they still get the rest of the emails? So the answer is no. The minute a person buys the product, they're taken off that 8 email sequence, 2-week sequence, because you don't want to pitch the product to people who've already bought it. What happens next? They buy it and you put them onto a product engagement sequence. Now, I can't teach you everything that goes into that sequence now, but the simple answer is it's content, usually about a week, maybe 2 weeks long, designed to get the person to use that product. In fact, with the Laptop Lifestyle Academy, you may not know this, but I wrote, and this is a little bit longer than normal, but I wrote a 6-month product engagement sequence to get you to actually make use of the Academy. So I talk about some of the resources. I give you some, you should study this if you want to solve this problem. And I actually teach people what order to go through the content inside the Academy. You're getting those emails right now from me if you're watching this presentation because you're inside the Academy as a member. So that sequence, most of the time I don't recommend it should be 6 months long, but because the Academy has so much great value, I want to make sure you knew about everything. Most of the time, if you're selling a front-end product, an ebook, a short course, you probably only need 1 week, maybe 2 weeks as an engagement sequence. Even my flagship course, Blog Mastermind, only has a 6-week engagement sequence, and it's a pretty big course. Whatever the case may be, once a person buys, there's some kind of engagement content to make sure they get value from what they just bought. What you can also do is do a next level offer sequence. So if this is a front-end lower price product, after you finish the engagement sequence, you can then send them information on a next level product. So you might offer your flagship course as the next level offer. So you might have some content go out to them that's actually an offer sequence for your flagship course. So it's a great way to set up this automated funnel that can take people who've never bought from you, who then buy your lower price front-end product, who then get a product engagement sequence to use it, and then get a next level offer sequence to buy your flagship course and go on to buy the flagship course. So you can take someone who's never bought from you all the way through to potentially buying your $1,000 or $2,000 flagship course, all on autopilot. That's what I mean by the machine. All this is run by your email autoresponder system. In case you're wondering what happens if they do not buy, and I'll be flat out honest with you, most people won't buy. So most people who join your 8-part, 2-week email sequence will not buy the product. The simple fact is most conversion rates are at best 5%. So at best you might have 5% people buy the actual product. It's probably going to be even less than that. So most people will not become customers. So they do not buy from that sequence, those 8 emails I just taught you. They go onto your house list, which is often called a newsletter. So your house list newsletter is just a place where you put people who are not active in one of your email sequence. What you want to do though is make sure they're still getting messages. So my house list, I still send content. I usually send my latest blog posts, my latest podcast. Sometimes I'll write a story just for my email list to make sure those people are kept warm. They still know you exist. You're still helping them. You're still keeping the relationship going because they may buy something from you in the future. What you also can do with the house list is invite them to join one of your sequences or take them through a launch campaign. It's probably going to be your biggest email list. And your job is to get people from your house list onto a sequence or through a campaign to then become a customer. So that's just the conclusion. So they either buy and go through a product engagement sequence or do not buy and they get put on your house list newsletter where you're going to keep in touch with them and possibly move them onto other sequences. Okay, so some brief action steps now that we're getting towards the final end of this presentation. I hope you've enjoyed it. First of all, answer these questions. You've probably been thinking about these things already as I showed you the 8 emails. 1, what is the product and the bonuses, and in particular the special that you're going to offer? In particular the special, because during week 2 you have to have something pretty good in that special limited offer you're going to have in the last 4 emails. So you probably know what you sell already. You might be thinking about bonuses. You might already have all this. You might have your product and the bonuses. It's simply a case of thinking, what's the special offer I'm going to do in week 2? You should have written some notes already as you listened to me teach you this. You've probably been taking down, oh, I'll tell this story for the case study. Oh, I'll explain this background about me in the aha message. And you're probably thinking, oh, I have to find out my rejection point, so I got to put together that rejections email. So get all of that done. If you need to go back and watch the second half of this presentation again and go through all 8 emails with me again, but take notes. So pause the video, write down notes, and then ultimately your end job here is to go out there and write those emails. This is so important. I promise you, if you even do a bad job of writing these 8 template emails, it'll still work incredibly well. Set them up to go out over 2 weeks. Do your best job to create each of those 8 emails. Then put some traffic onto that sequence, and I promise you, you will start making some sales. You're obviously going to need enough traffic to get some customers, but this will do so much more than pretty much any other form of marketing I can teach you. This is a very powerful set of emails designed to sell your products and services, and you'll get better at this the more often you do it. You might need to create 2 or 3 or 4 versions of this, but it will start to bring in sales. Follow the 8 templates. That's why I give them to you. Okay, so thank you. I want to thank you to paying attention all the way to the end of this presentation. I've been very excited to give this to you because I really felt the Academy was lacking some very specific training on what emails to write in a sequence. Blog Mastermind, and there's the link to Blog Mastermind. That's my flagship course. It's blogmastermind.com. You may not be a member of Blog Mastermind. It is a higher price product. The Academy is a different training program. The Academy is more about community and coaching and short training programs like this, like you just watched. Blog Mastermind is the program I've been running for longer than any other program. It's a flagship course. You're going to have at least, you need to have at least $1,500 to invest in the program. So it's, it's something you take seriously. But what it does teach you is even more in-depth training on email marketing. So there's an entire workshop in that program that goes into email marketing. So if you really did enjoy this training and you're not a member of Blog Mastermind, I do invite you to take part in that program, because it will give you much more in-depth, advanced strategies and techniques around email marketing and blogging. However, you don't need it. As I said, do the best job you can with these 8 emails and they will sell your product and service. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this training. If you have any questions for me, you know what to do. Ask in the Slack chat or join me on the live coaching webinar. The live coaching webinar is by far the best way to get coaching from me. We do them all throughout the year. You can email your questions in advance. So if you have any questions about these 8 emails and how to apply them to your business, that's the place to go. You'll find that inside the Academy under the coaching tab in the navigation bar. I'm going to call it done for this training. I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Yarrow, and I will see you inside the Laptop Lifestyle Academy.